WMUR Commitment 2020 special, The Final Countdown.
This could be a very interesting evening on November 3rd.
We are in the final hours of a long and contentious campaign season.
I just want to make sure we can earn every vote possible.
From the White House to the State House, across Capitol Hill, and in the New Hampshire House and Senate, the results of tomorrow's election will shape the response to a pandemic and tensions in society.
We have such an unprecedented task ahead of us with this general election.
Thousands of you have already cast ballots, but thousands more will go to the polls tomorrow and vote in person. The stakes and the emotions are high in this final countdown to Election Day. And good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tom Griffith.
And I'm Jennifer Vaughn. We are just 5 hours from the first votes in an election that has been taking shape now since almost immediately after the last presidential election.
But these final hours before Election Day are happening under extraordinary circumstances, from the COVID-19 pandemic to renewed focus and tensions surrounding race and justice in the United States.
Tonight, we're looking at how things have come to this point and what to expect on Election Day tomorrow. We have live team coverage of all of the major campaigns tonight, and our political team is here to help us put everything in perspective. But before we get to the campaigns, we want to start first with a look at the voters. The high stakes in this election, plus expanded absentee voting during the coronavirus, have already set some records for turnout. And as WMUR Charisse Leclerc reports live in our studio tonight, one of the busiest polling places in the country could be here in New Hampshire.
Good evening, Jen. Secretary of State Bill Gardner says Pinkerton Academy in Derry handles about 17,000 voters and is considered the largest single voting place in the country. Gardner says primary day really was a learning curve in the midst of COVID, but that prepared them for tomorrow in terms of absentee balloting and making polling places COVID compliant. With about 800,000 votes expected to be cast in New Hampshire, we could be seeing more than 70% voter turnout, which we have not had in this state since John F. Kennedy was running for president.
This is, a once in 100 years type of an election, and people will be asking about this for many years to come.
In anticipation of this heavy absentees, we acquired a second AccuVote tabulator just for absentees. So we're going to be able to, I think, go quicker than many communities, because we'll be able to actually just dedicate a whole machine for the absentee ballots.
Now, Gardner says there may be an additional 1 to 3 hours as moderators count those votes in certain polling places, but we will know tomorrow night how New Hampshire voted. Reporting live, I'm Charisse Leclerc, WMUR News 9.
And the race driving much of that turnout is, of course, the race for the White House.
Both President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden have a full calendar of campaign events on this election eve. WMUR's Amy Covino is tracking the presidential candidates.
Former Vice President Joe Biden has not personally campaigned in New Hampshire since the primary back in February, but polls show he is leading here. President Trump has held a number of rallies here in recent weeks, but polls show he is trailing Biden. The final push focusing on battleground states. President Trump had 5 different rallies, starting in North Carolina, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida. President Trump promising a robust economy under his leadership, while challenger Joe Biden is messaging healing a divided country. Both candidates are promising a better tomorrow, along with mixing in a heavy dose of criticizing each other, and President Trump casting doubt on election results.
A very great pollster, but he predicted we'd win the whole election. But the question was, what about Pennsylvania? He said, well, you have to leave 5% for the cheating.
So, folks, it's time to stand up, take back this democracy. We can do this. We're so much better than we've been. We can be who we are at our best. Not blue states and red states, but the United States of America. So let's take it back.
Election officials are working to temper expectations about results tomorrow, reminding voters that it is entirely possible that we will not know who the victor is for days to come. Reporting live this evening, Amy Covino, WMUR News 9.
Amy, thank you. The race for governor features two men who at times have been at odds while serving their constituents.
Incumbent Republican Governor Chris Sununu faces Democratic State Senator Dan Feltes. WMUR's Gene Mackin has more on the race for the state's corner office.
Well, let me tell you, no rest for these candidates. Right now, they have their sights set on voters heading to the polls first thing in the morning. We caught up with Governor Chris Sununu with his supporters in Nashua. The Republican is seeking a third term, running on the continuity of his pandemic response, from securing PPE to issuing a stay-at-home order at the right time to distributing federal funds for businesses and people struggling, also pointing to his commission to work on police reform. Challenger Democrat Dan Feltes, the youngest Senate Majority Leader in state history, says more can be done for working families. The former legal aid attorney, he's wrapping up his Every Last Vote tour, 63 stops in 10 days across the state, saying that health care, paid family leave, common sense gun safety, all are needed, along with legislative approval for pandemic response.
I've been working a bipartisan way to advance health insurance for everybody. Chris Sununu has been standing in the way. Third term of Chris Sununu will be more of the same. People want to change.
It has to be about putting New Hampshire first, and so that's really the pitch we've had, all along, making sure that we're results driven and making sure people are held accountable.
And Libertarian candidate Darryl Perry is also on the ballot, running for New Hampshire governor. Reporting live, Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, Gene, thanks. We're joined now by political director Adam Sexton for a look at how the coronavirus pandemic has affected the race for governor. Adam.
Well, Tom and Jen, this has been the dominant issue in not just the national but the statewide campaigns. But when you talk about the governor's race, it really is the amplifier turned up to 11 on COVID-19, just because of how much activity there is coming out of the corner office at the State House to take care of the pandemic. So if we go back to the beginning of this cycle right now, Democrats had every right to be confident that Dan Feltes was going to be their establishment candidate to take on Governor Chris Sununu. They had clashed in a number of different ways at the State House on health care, on paid family and medical leave, green energy, any number of issues, gun control as well. The Democrats thought they would have a lot of substantive issues to be able to clash with Governor Sununu on. Then the pandemic hits, the legislature is sidelined, Senate Majority Leader Dan Feltes doesn't have the same kind of platform to take on Sununu, and then the Democrats try to sue to get more control over the COVID-19 aid funding and the CARES Act. That doesn't work either, and so it's Governor Chris Sununu center stage, essentially, with no one else out there, and as the months pile up, it's clear that Granite Staters in the polls have a favorable view of the way he's handling the COVID-19 pandemic. So this puts Senator Feltes in between a dilemma and a quandary. The dilemma is, how do you campaign in a pandemic when your name recognition is not good? And the quandary is, once that lifts a little bit, how do you approach things? Do you change the way that you're campaigning, or do you find a new message? So Dan Feltes comes back out. He says essentially he wants to, work around the margins of the coronavirus response on some of the rougher edges, such as the handling of the deaths in the long-term care facilities. But he hammers away at this idea of Governor Chris Sununu as a, quote, Trump guy through and through. It's clear for whatever reason that those attacks haven't landed, because we see in the polls it's a 15 to 25 point lead for Governor Sununu. And so at this point, it really is for Dan Feltes. He's going to be playing catch up all the way up until the last votes are counted, Tom and Jen.
So with that spread in the polls, as you just mentioned, what are the first few clues you're looking at in this race?
We really want to pay attention to Ward 1 in Manchester. It's an affluent Democratic ward. The Democratic nominee won it in 2016 by 400 votes. Sununu won by 200 votes 2 years ago. If he's up by those margins again, it's going to be a quick night, Tom and Jen.
Okay, thank you, Adam. We'll see you again
so
soon enough. We have much more ahead tonight, including a look at the congressional races. Some polls showing one district neck and neck tonight.
Plus, could we see the balance of power shift in New Hampshire's legislature? What to watch for in state races.
And there are a lot of issues weighing on voters' minds this year. Coming up next, we'll sit down with several Granite Staters to see what's most important as they decide who gets their vote.